Have you ever thought about what life might look like if you needed a little more help with daily tasks, but the idea of moving into a nursing home just doesn't sit right with you? You're not alone. So many people in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s wrestle with this same question. Nursing homes can sometimes feel like the only option, but the truth is, they're not. There are choices out there that allow you to stay independent, comfortable, and most importantly, in control of your life. When we think about aging, most of us picture staying in our own home, surrounded by familiar memories, and keeping the freedom we've enjoyed for decades. But life doesn't always unfold that neatly. Sometimes, we need a little help. Maybe it's with cooking, cleaning, or even getting dressed in the morning. And while nursing homes provide care, they can also take away that sense of independence. That's why today, we're going to explore some of the best alternatives to nursing homes, options that let you live with more freedom, dignity, and joy. Let's start with something many people don't realize can be a fantastic solution: in-home care. Imagine being able to wake up in your own bed, in the house you've lived in for years, and still have someone there to lend a hand when you need it. That's the beauty of in-home care. Whether it's a professional caregiver who comes a few hours a day or someone who stays overnight, you get to remain in your home environment, surrounded by all the little things that make life comfortable. This can be as simple as having help with meals, laundry, or bathing. Or, if your needs are greater, you can arrange for full-time assistance. The key benefit here is that you remain in charge of your daily routine. You decide when you want to eat breakfast, whether you want to sit outside in the garden, or if you'd rather spend the afternoon watching your favorite TV show. It's your home, your rules, and your comfort. I've met people in their 70s and 80s who chose in-home care, and one thing they always say is how much lighter they feel knowing they don't have to give up their space or their privacy. A woman I spoke to recently, who had lost some mobility after a fall, shared that just having someone come in the mornings to help her shower and prepare lunch made all the difference. She said, "I still feel like myself. I'm not in an institution, I'm not on anyone else's schedule. I'm just me, living in my home." That kind of peace of mind is priceless. Another wonderful option that often goes overlooked is independent living communities. Now, these aren't nursing homes. Think of them more like retirement neighborhoods or apartment complexes designed for older adults who want freedom, but also enjoy having a supportive environment nearby. The best part about these communities is that they blend independence with convenience. You get your own private living space, your apartment, cottage, or condo, but you're surrounded by other people your age who are enjoying life, too. Many independent living communities offer activities like fitness classes, art workshops, or group outings. And while they don't provide full medical care, they often have services like meal plans, housekeeping, and transportation that make daily life much easier. I once visited an independent living community where a gentleman in his late 70s told me, "It feels like I'm back in college, but without the exams." He had his own apartment, but loved joining his neighbors for evening card games and morning walks. What really struck me was how vibrant and alive the atmosphere felt, so different from the image many of us have of nursing homes. People were laughing, socializing, and staying active, all while knowing they could retreat to their private space whenever they wanted. And that brings me to something that ties all of this together: choice. The idea that you don't have to give up your independence just because you might need some help. Nursing homes are not the only path forward. There are creative, modern alternatives that let you live your life in ways that feel natural and joyful. So far, we've looked at in-home care and independent living communities, both of which allow you to keep a strong sense of control and comfort. Each option has its own unique benefits, depending on what stage of life you're in and how much support you need. If you're still watching and feel that these insights are meaningful, please type number 2 in the comments to let me know you're still with me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I warmly invite you to do so, and don't forget to turn on the bell, so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos designed to uplift, inform, and inspire. Your support truly means a lot. It's what keeps us going and allows us to continue sharing thoughtful, helpful content just for you. Now, let's continue this journey together. When we think about freedom and comfort in later years, it's not only about the space we live in, but also about the connections we keep and the routines we build. After exploring the idea of aging in place, let's move into another wonderful option that balances independence with peace of mind: continuing care retirement communities. These communities are often overlooked because people assume they're just another version of a nursing home, but the truth is, they're designed to be so much more than that. Imagine a place where you can live in your own apartment or small house, surrounded by friends who are walking through the same stage of life. There's a sense of belonging, like being part of a neighborhood where everyone understands you. The real beauty of these communities is that you can stay independent for as long as you're able, but when the time comes that you need extra help, the support is right there. You don't have to go through the stress of moving again or adjusting to a completely new environment. Instead, the care adapts to your needs. I once met a woman named Helen who moved into a continuing care community at 72. She had just lost her husband and didn't want to feel isolated, but she also wasn't ready to give up her independence. She found herself in a lovely 2-bedroom cottage with a little garden where she could grow tomatoes. Every morning, she had the choice of cooking breakfast in her own kitchen or walking to the community dining hall to meet friends. What struck me most when I spoke with her was the joy in her voice when she described the peace of knowing she wouldn't have to uproot her life if she ever needed more assistance. "I can grow old here," she told me, "and still feel like myself." That sense of security is priceless. And then there's another option that many seniors are starting to embrace: co-housing. This is a newer idea in some places, but it's deeply rooted in the age-old concept of neighbors helping neighbors. Co-housing is about creating small communities where people share common spaces, meals, and sometimes even responsibilities, while still keeping their own private homes or apartments. Think of it as a modern version of the village life many of us grew up with. In a co-housing setup, you might have your own cozy apartment, but right outside your door there could be a shared garden, a communal kitchen for big meals, or a living room where neighbors gather for movie nights. The atmosphere is friendly, supportive, and alive with activity. What makes co-housing so powerful is the sense of belonging. It's not just about having a roof over your head, it's about having people to laugh with, to lean on, and to share life's simple joys. Let me tell you about George, who joined a senior co-housing group after living alone for almost a decade. He said the hardest part of living alone wasn't cooking or cleaning, it was the silence. The long stretches of days without someone to talk to wore on him. But in his co-housing community, he found a group of people who truly became his extended family. They cook together a few nights a week, help each other with errands, and even plan little weekend outings. For George, the loneliness melted away, and he felt a renewed sense of purpose just by being part of that circle of care. Of course, co-housing isn't for everyone. Some people prefer more privacy, while others thrive in the shared lifestyle. But what both co-housing and continuing care communities remind us is that there are so many ways to grow older without feeling confined or stripped of your freedom. These alternatives don't just offer a place to stay, they offer a way to live, to remain connected, and to keep joy at the heart of daily life. And speaking of joy, there's one more path that has been growing in popularity, especially among families who want to stay close: creating multi-generational households. This option looks very different for everyone, but the idea is simple. Instead of separating the generations, families come together under one roof. Multi-generational living is something many of us remember from childhood. Maybe you grew up in a home where grandparents, parents, and kids all lived under the same roof. Back then, it wasn't unusual, it was simply the way life worked. Today, it's making a comeback, and for good reason. In a world where so many people are stretched thin with work, childcare, and responsibilities, living together as a family again can solve multiple challenges at once. For seniors, it provides daily companionship, a role in the household, and the comfort of knowing you're not facing life's ups and downs alone. For children and grandchildren, it's a chance to grow up with the wisdom, love, and presence of older generations. It's a two-way street, everyone benefits. I met a couple, Robert and Mary, who moved in with their daughter's family after they turned 75. At first, they were worried about losing privacy, but they quickly discovered that the arrangement brought them closer together. Robert helped with homework in the evenings, Mary cooked Sunday dinners, and in return, their daughter and son-in-law made sure they got to doctor's appointments and handled household chores that had become harder. What could have been a burden became a beautiful exchange of care, support, and love. Of course, multi-generational living works best when there's clear communication and respect for boundaries. It's important to carve out private space for everyone and agree on how household responsibilities will be shared. But when done thoughtfully, it can be one of the most rewarding alternatives to a nursing home. It keeps seniors integrated into the family unit, where laughter, meals, and daily life are shared together. Another option worth mentioning, one that blends independence with support, is home sharing. This is where older adults share their home with another person, often another senior or even a younger adult. It helps reduce costs, provides companionship, and creates a safety net without taking away freedom. Sometimes, just knowing someone else is in the house at night brings peace of mind. When we step back and look at all these alternatives, aging in place with support, continuing care communities, co-housing, multi-generational households, and home sharing, a common thread emerges: freedom and dignity. Each path looks a little different, but the heart of it is the same. We don't have to think of aging as a season of limitation. Instead, it can be a time of rediscovery, of building stronger connections, and of choosing environments that help us thrive. So, if you or someone you love is facing the question, what comes after 70, 80, or beyond, remember this: a nursing home is not the only answer. You have choices. You can shape your later years to reflect your values, your personality, and your vision of comfort. And perhaps the most important takeaway is this: you don't need to wait until a crisis to make a decision. Start the conversation now. Explore the options, visit communities, talk with family, and dream a little about the kind of life you want to live. Because aging, when approached with openness and creativity, isn't about losing control, it's about taking control in new and meaningful ways. So let me leave you with a question: if you could design your perfect later years, what would they look like? Would you picture yourself in your own cozy home with support coming in? Or in a lively community full of friends? Or maybe under one roof with family, surrounded by generations of laughter? The choice is yours, and that, my friends, is the true gift of growing older in today's world. Thank you for spending time with us today. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned from this video and how you plan to apply it in your life. Your insights mean a lot to us and give us the motivation to keep spreading positivity and practical advice. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone you care about. Your support truly helps us continue creating meaningful content that informs, inspires, and uplifts. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.